I learned a lot about other people. I had a lot of preconceived notions about prisoners, but I had a lot of preconceived notions about drug addicts. And then I'd meet people that were college professors that got into a car accident and needed some painkillers, and those weren't enough, and it turned to something else, and it turned to something else. And these are people with great families that are just wonderful people that made bad decisions, and one bad decision can kind of have that snowball effect and turn into a lot of things. I'm certainly no better than anybody else. I definitely realize that now. The hardest thing to adjust to going into jail was not knowing anybody. The hardest thing to adjust to coming out was, dealing with the title. I'm a convicted felon. I can't meet a woman or a potential employer or a potential friend or anything else without that having to kind of be put up front to know that they can deal with it now instead of waiting until it's too late and they feel like I lied to them, I ended up doing 5 years and 5 days in prison. I never made parole. I was the first person with my charge to not make parole. The family showed up at every parole hearing, as did all the influential ones, and they made sure I never made it. And I don't blame them for that, because I would have done the same thing. So I had to do the time. I was sentenced to 8, and I only did 5 because I earned good time. I got another college degree while in prison. I got my associate's degree in business management. I also took every single class you could possibly imagine, stuff that I didn't need. I'd tell them I was a drug addict, even though I'd never done drugs, just so I could get the good time. Because every class you complete, they take 17 days off your sentence. So if you prove to them that you're trying to become a better person, they give you a little bit of a reward. And every month that you don't get in trouble, they take 10 days off. So I never got in trouble. So in 5 years, that's 60 months, that's 600 days right there. So in every month that you work, you get 2 days off. And I was the head law librarian for the prison, as well as the head librarian. So I would organize all the books, and if somebody needed to file for divorce or file for, most of the time it was visitation rights of their kids, I would do all those filings for them. I certainly wasn't a jailhouse lawyer or that guy that pushes the cart that you see on TV. That doesn't actually exist. Life lessons that I learned in jail, I learned a lot of them. I learned that in the blink of an eye can all be taken away from you. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about his family. You don't obviously appreciate anything until it's gone, and that is probably a saying you've heard your entire life, but it couldn't be more real. Just staring out the window, listening to the radio, and just picturing the fact that I'm driving, or picturing that I'm on a beach, or just, daydreaming like crazy, just trying to get mentally out of there. I appreciate it so much more now. I can take a walk down the street, and it means the world to me. When back then, I couldn't care less about it. There's definitely a lot to learn from my experience. I mean, back to the seatbelt thing, a lot of people don't wear seatbelts because they're uncomfortable. Well, while I was in there, I joined what's called the Zero Fatalities Project, where they would bring different high schools into the prison, and I spoke to over 6,000 kids. It was me, my friend Brendan, who killed his 3 best friends in a drinking and driving accident, and a woman named Brandy, who killed 2 of her mother's friends in a drinking and driving accident. My friend Sonny, who killed his girlfriend's best friend in a drinking and driving accident. And 2 adults who lost children. 2 drinking and driving accidents. And it was a pretty intense program to be part of. It wasn't a scared straight, scare you. But there was a lot of information to be shared, and it's one thing to listen to me talk, but when you listen to a son, or a father for that matter, that lost his son, or a mother that lost her daughter, it's gut-wrenching. And to know that you've done that to somebody is pretty terrifying too. So, that was a cool thing to be a part of, and we talked about a lot of things, and I would always say, why doesn't everybody wear their seatbelt? Because if I asked every one of you guys right now who wears their seatbelt every single time they drive, 75% of you would raise your hand, and all 75% of you would be lying probably, because nobody does. And it's unfortunate, out of the 60 deaths in Rhode Island while I was in prison, there were 60 kids killed in car accidents. 57 of them